Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Taylor Corlew and thank you for joining us. Tonight, we take a look back at stories from our social justice team, from new technology at Sky Harbor Airport to pride events in Arizona and California. First up, the Crown Act received national attention after the U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill banning discrimination against natural hair textures and styles this year. The bill still needs to make its way through the Senate to become federal law. However, as Nicole Shin shows us, the Crown Act already reigns in 2 Arizona cities and is making an impact.
As African American women, our hair is our crown, right? It is our glory. It is a part of our beauty. It's a statement.
Creating an open and respectful world for natural hair, or the Crown Act, is a legal effort to protect and promote equality, emphasizing the beauty in human diversity.
You can express your way in so many different ways. Braids, twists, natural curl pattern. Because the way our hair makes a statement sets us apart from someone that can throw their hair in a ponytail or wash and go, where as an African American person, we were born this way. It is a birthright to be able to wear my natural hair in any facet, in any manner, just like any other race.
A 2019 study conducted by Dove found that Black women are 80% more likely to change their hair to fit societal norms or workplace expectations. Dove and several lawmakers nationwide set out to change this and to create an equitable and inclusive world for natural hair through the development of the Crown Act.
So the Crown Act is something that we actually passed, but it's something that's nationally meant to prevent discrimination when it comes to hairstyles and textures. It's something that's been passed in other municipalities throughout the country. We have a situation where you can be cited and fined if you actually do, or if you are found to be in violation. There definitely are penalties, financial penalties, if you are found to frankly be discriminating against anyone in the city of Tempe for any reason, and that of course would include the newly adopted Crown Act.
Natural hair discrimination in the United States has roots in the Civil Rights era and beyond. The Crown Act was first introduced in California in 2019 to ensure protection against natural hair discrimination in workplaces and K-12 public and charter schools in an attempt to end natural hair discrimination worldwide.
I'm a person that was born in the 50s, so I've seen the transitioning of hair and Black people. I've seen a lot in terms of whether it's voting rights or all kinds of protests and things like that. Went through the Afro period where there were people being discriminated against for wearing an Afro to work, but that was a different time and place. So I'm aware of what could happen, and it seems like our world has taken like a couple of steps back, and we don't want to revisit those kinds of discrimination.
We have seen things throughout the country, quite honestly, situations where, for a child to participate in a wrestling competition, that all of a sudden someone stops the match and says, you cannot participate in this because you have braids or because you have dreadlocks. I mean, those are hairstyles that are part of who we are, the diversity of who we are as people in this country, as different races and ethnicities.
I think that there has just been a stigma of what our hair is supposed to look like. I feel like we have a perception of what we're supposed to look like from all the transitionings of the different decades, different centuries of what our hair looks like.
Since its introduction in 2019, the Crown Act has passed in 14 states and more than 10 cities, including Tucson and Tempe, Arizona, thanks to the help of local organizations and citizens speaking up for their community.
We're hearing young high school Black girls talk about, no, I can't wear my hair like that for the banquet because my coach won't think it's polished enough. Hearing those kind of statements I just encourage them to be the best thing they can be. But then I thought, what can happen here at Tempe? And so when I knew the opportunity was there, I felt like my voice was heard and I can actually speak about it. And then I'm telling everybody I know in every other city, just find out, reach out to your local folks and find out what you can do. And I'm hopeful that Tempe and Tucson are just the beginning for Arizona.
By having it be a law, it also opens that discussion. And it is an important discussion for people in professional workplaces to recognize that for people of color, their professional hair is going to look different than what the discriminatory standard has been up to now. So by having it be a law and people see it, and it allows us to open that conversation. And hopefully when we know better, we do better.
Citywide legislation in Tempe and Tucson has been beneficial locally, but there is a continued push for statewide legislation in the Arizona House of Representatives, as well as increased efforts for federal legislation with the passing of the Crown Act in the House in March 2022. However, the bill still needs to pass in the Senate and get signed by President Biden before it becomes law.
I'd like to see it be a national act, so that areas of the country, and there's areas of the country is not as maybe liberal as, say, Tucson or whatever. So that other areas of the country where it is all still being an accepted practice, that if it was federal level, you wouldn't have to do, first by the city, first by the state. It would be something that would be federal.
I also want to emphasize that we are one, right? And once we can get past the fact of what someone's hair looks like, what someone's complexion is, where someone grew up, someone's nationality, someone's figure, just being okay with being you as a person, which makes a beautiful rainbow of people.
New Jersey Senator Cory Booker is sponsoring the Crown Act bill in the Senate. It has not been scheduled for a vote in the upper chamber.
More than 150,000 travelers move through Sky Harbor Airport on a daily basis, and navigating the airport can be daunting and stressful.
Recently, Sky Harbor Airport implemented a new service for the blind and visually impaired to help take away some of the stress of traveling. I took a look at what this service offers. For the blind and visually impaired, navigating the airport usually means having someone by your side.
There was always miscommunication or misunderstanding and the awkwardness of having somebody else with you.
Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport partnered with the Foundation for Blind Children to introduce the service IRA to make traveling easier.
This service with people without sight just takes away one of those elements of the anxiety. It really makes it easier for them to get through the airport, get to their flight, understand where they're going, and actually just get there on time.
IRA, a free app available to download on your smartphone, uses a live stream to help the user navigate the airport through descriptive audio.
Essentially, it connects you with one of these visual interpreters, and they can see your surroundings.
Through the app, the visual interpreter can help them read signs and makes it easier to get their tickets from the kiosk.
And so now that we have this awesome technology that allows people with visual impairments to navigate the airport like a sighted peer would, independently, quickly, and safely.
Making a once daunting experience more fun.
The biggest benefit of IRA is freedom. This is going to allow people who would otherwise feel intimidated to travel, feel intimidated to go places they've always wanted to go. That relieves that intimidation, that relieves that one last obstacle.
Although IRA is a monthly subscription service, people who use the app at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport can access it for free. Over the past 2 years, you may have noticed various shortages in foods you like. The city of Phoenix is trying to find solutions to those shortages. They awarded 7 organizations with the Agri-Food Tech Innovation Grant to work on innovative and sustainable food supply practices. I talked to 2 of those organizations to see exactly how they'll help. One solution to the food shortages: have people grow their own food. Lear makes gardens that use technology, are easy and sustainable, so more people will want to grow their own food. Their signature piece, the Lear Garden.
So the idea is that we create like a full, complete system that's going to take care of as many of the tasks of agriculture as possible.
By using a composting system, the plants are healthier and last longer. The system also reuses water for conservation, and the gardens are small enough to be placed in most backyards.
we still have really, really large backyards. And it's enough that if somebody wanted to build a small garden, they could supplement their food, take a little bit of the stress off of the food system.
Growing food in gardens like these Lear gardens allows the food system to be healthier and more sustainable. That means the next step is bringing those same attributes to food transportation. With the city grant, FreshCube wants to create a new transportation system for small farmers.
We're going to have something that we're going to give to this small set of farmers so that they can take the product to the markets.
Although still a prototype, the idea is to create 6 mini containers to carry produce, track things like temperature and humidity, and protect crops during transportation.
You are going to be able to put your crop as soon as possible into what we call the cold chain.
This will all be controlled by the Central Driving Unit, or CDU, powered with alternative energy.
We're going to be able to maximize the efficiency of that in such a way that we don't have to use fossil fuels.
The cubes are built in a Lego-like structure to allow multiple farmers to transport their product.
One is to build this into a system that a lot of growers can benefit from.
So there is an oil.
You can purchase Lear Gardens now, and FreshCube mini containers hope to be on the road in the next 6 months.
Wednesday marked the 10th anniversary of DACA, or Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. The program delays deportation for some undocumented immigrants, but that Obama-era policy has never been put into law, and advocates want to change that, as Daisy Gonzalez-Perez reports from our Washington, D.C. bureau.
It's been 10 years of DACA, but it hasn't been enough, and we need a permanent solution now.
Yesenia Romales, a 29-year-old from Phoenix, has had DACA since it was enacted in 2012. But there are millions of other undocumented immigrants in the U.S. who are not covered, which brought protesters to Washington this week.
It has definitely granted me a lot of opportunities, but it's also shown me that it's not a permanent solution, and it's not an encompassing solution to our whole community.
DACA provides temporary relief from deportation for those who were brought here to the U.S. at a young age. The renewable protection allows recipients to seek employment, get a driver's license, and more for 2 years at a time. But that protection is not permanent, something advocates say has to change.
DACA is a temporary relief. It was enacted as such, and a permanent solution, it's due, way overdue now.
Advocates say one way to do that would be to pass the Dream and Promise Act. It would make DACA permanent, but also expand coverage to others.
We know that DACA is not enough. There are too many people who are living with uncertainty in their status in this country, that face deportation, that live in fear, and that are hiding in the shadows of our society. I think it is time we end that.
It would benefit me because I wouldn't have the cloud of like concern and worry over my head constantly. You know, you're having to plan your life in 2-year chunks because that's how long your visa lasts for. And
that bill passed the House but stalled in the Senate. Jesus says Chicanos por la Causa will continue to fight for its passage, something Romales said is long overdue.
I think more than just asking for a pathway for us, it's remembering that there's more than 11 million undocumented people, and all of us need to have that weight come off of our shoulders.
In Washington, Daisy Gonzalez-Perez, Cronkite News.
The White House did release a statement yesterday celebrating DACA and its recipients, calling for action on legislation to make it permanent. But there has been no word from Congress on if a vote on the Dream and Promise Act is on the horizon.
Phoenix has seen a 35% rise in homelessness over the past 2 years, much of it due to a surge in housing costs and the economic hardships of the pandemic. Julio Moro Rodriguez tells us about a new effort to tackle the issue with partners from the housing industry.
A diverse group, including property owners and advocates for the homeless, came together to unveil a new program called Threshold, aimed at encouraging property owners to open their doors to people experiencing homelessness.
Existing systems designed to provide housing for vulnerable populations are not usually built with property owners and managers in mind. Consequently, they're not very effective at meeting their needs, nor are they geared towards being collaborative and producing comprehensive solutions.
The $5 million investment from Maricopa County offers financial incentives for property owners, such as a signing bonus worth 1.5 times the monthly rent, a hotline with 24/7 support for landlords, and financial support to cover losses from damages and vacancies.
The homeless issue has attracted members from both sides of the aisle. Bill Gates, the chairman of the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, says it's a first-of-a-kind partnership with property owners and managers.
Because we know that our residents demand it, and it's the right thing to do.
According to the Arizona Department of Housing, to keep up with demand, at least 17,000 affordable units need to be built a year. Stakeholders understand that a partnership with housing providers is the only way to make a dent in the homeless population.
Understanding our needs and challenges, and working to make homeless assistance programs work for everybody, including the housing provider.
In Phoenix, Julio Mora Rodriguez, Cronkite News.
The president of the Arizona Multi-Housing Association says she hopes that every landlord commits to at least one unit to the Threshold Project, saying that would go a long way to end homelessness. After a 2-year hiatus, the LA Pride Parade took over the streets of Hollywood. The return comes as politicians across the country push for anti-LGBTQ+ legislation. Los Angeles Bureau reporter Emily Miranda speaks with parade goers and participants about what Pride means to them.
Pride, I see you, I hear you, I support you, one love.
Los Angeles resident Olivia Mae Langford and her friends celebrate their first Pride Parade. They are among thousands of new and returning spectators. They are here to celebrate this year's theme, Love Your Pride, a message of inclusion and acceptance.
And being here with my friends is just a wonderful feeling, and seeing everyone else here, like being themselves unapologetically, like that's what I strive to be, and I'm so glad to be here.
Floats, bands, and drag queens helped celebrate the LGBTQ+ community. The parade followed a new route on Hollywood Boulevard this year, the original parade route from 1970, when LA Pride became the first in the world to get a permit. They missed the 50th anniversary in 2020, and after a 2-year pandemic hiatus, celebrated as thousands lined the streets. Los Angeles residents Mike and Alyssa Wazabo came to support their daughter Lorraine Grigo, and for them, it means a lot to be back.
Every different person, doesn't matter race, ethnicity, everybody enjoying themselves and nobody judging. That's the best part of it all.
More than 130 groups participated, including the Gay Men's Chorus of Los Angeles, Classroom of Compassion, and Grand Marshal Sir Lady Java. One performer with a message to his performance, Emmett O'Reilly, says,
I'm telling everybody it's okay to be gay. I mean, this isn't Florida where you can't even say gay. Here we yell, gay, gay, gay. And love is love. So it's nice to be able to do that in public and let everybody know that it's all right.
While LA Pride may be coming to an end, with the LA Pride Parade, residents in Phoenix can soon look forward to their own celebration. Phoenix Pride will take place October 15th through the 16th. In Los Angeles, Emily Miranda, Cronkite News.
The Phoenix Mercury celebrated Pride Night over the weekend as well. The team is on a 3-game win streak, but Friday's victory over the Atlanta Dream wasn't the only cause for fanfare. Cronkite News reporter Lauren Green was on hand for the festivities at the Footprint Center.
The Mercury hosted their 8th annual Pride Night last week, and the arena was filled with celebration for the LGBTQ community. Rainbow flags were handed out to the first 5,000 fans, while other fans came decked out in their own colorful gear. The Mercury were the first professional sports team in Arizona to host a Pride Night.
It's just great to know, to be in a community that is supporting of all the people in it and is inclusive and really wants to create spaces where people feel comfortable.
Businesses were set up in the concourse area where they educated fans about their missions to support the LGBTQ community. One of the businesses there, Spectrum Medical, offered free HIV testing and information right in the arena. In the fans' eyes, the Mercury have really set the tone when it comes to celebrating Pride.
Phoenix Mercury has always, from really the get-go, been supportive of the LGBTQ community.
Here at the Mercury Pride Night, they're handing out gift bags, goodies, glow sticks, a little bit of everything. But this night isn't only about celebration. It's about to bring awareness to the LGBTQ community as well.
This year it's even more important because there's been so many things that have happened in our state that have really been attacks against the LGBTQ community, and this is our chance to really come out and be visible and say, we matter.
In her absence, Brittany Griner's name is still helping on nights like this with the celebration of the LGBTQ community. An online auction of custom hand-painted BG42 Nike Blazers started on Pride Night and is still ongoing this week. The proceeds will benefit the 6 LGBTQ organizations that were at the Mercury's Pride Night. From Phoenix, Lauren Green, Cronkite News.
Another sports team in the Valley celebrating Pride is the Diamondbacks, who will host their Pride Night on June 25th.
The Herd Museum kicked off Pride Night with a bang and slayed the competition by hosting its first ever native drag show. Our producer Adriana Smith introduces us to host and queen Pyra Addiction, who gave us a special insight into the local drag scene. In her own words.
My name is Pyra Addiction. I've been performing for 3 years in Phoenix, Arizona. I lived here for all my life.
Oh, okay, some people came prepared. Some people came prepared. I love that.
When I first got started, I used to go to drag shows regularly in the community. Then, like every other drag queen, they got started on amateur nights. Usually there's competitions. You go dress up in whatever you can find together to pass off as drag and perform. I performed, fell in love with it. A couple of show directors out here fell in love with me and gave me the opportunity to start to perform. That's kind of how it goes, your drag evolution. Phoenix is a small growing city with the drag community. We all kind of know each other and go from Flagstaff to Phoenix to Tucson. People do appreciate drag. I've been seeing it with things like this, like the Herd Museum, that drag is becoming very mainstream here.
I am the digital content manager here at the museum, and I'm very excited that this is like a full freaking house. It's crazy.
Fell in love with drag, and now I'm here hosting my show at the Herd Museum.
But yeah, Chaos, when you see her come out here, the outfit that she is wearing, she literally made today, and it is stunning. So when you see her, scream.
If you're in the native drag scene, you know you're native. Everyone who I've met who's indigenous, we all know each other. We know that we're native. With the indigenous side of the drag community, they're very just immediately welcoming. They will talk to you. They will just treat you kind of like your relative and like your brother or sister and look out for you. But I feel like the one reason that we've really been different is we're all dedicated. I want to make sure that the audience is smiling. If they're not smiling, I will come to you, perform right in front of you, look into your eyes and make sure there's that connection.
You can find Pyra and her queens every third Thursday at Tap That Downtown or on social media.
In the 5 months that Phoenix Mercury star Brittany Griner has been held in Russia on a drug charge, her cause has appeared on signs, social media, and at WNBA games. And as Cronkite News reporter Daisy Gonzalez-Perez tells us from our Washington bureau, today it became part of a mural in the Georgetown section of Washington, D.C.
Brittany Griner may not have been the focus at today's unveiling of the Bring Them Home mural, but it was hard to miss her importance to the cause.
Griner's face and her USA jersey are the first images you see on this mural of 18 Americans who are currently being held hostage or wrongfully detained overseas.
As the artist, when I was receiving these pictures, it was the most intense feeling to look at those images and put them next to one another and see the story of these lives and these families over time play out as I move the images around on the wall.
Isaac Campbell spent the last several months creating the mural that was unveiled today. It depicts just some of the 64 Americans currently being held abroad and aims to keep a focus on their plight. Players for the WNBA's New York Liberty showed up for today's unveiling, and Jonathan Franks, the spokesperson for the families whose loved ones are shown on the wall, said Washington Mystics players came out yesterday to help finish Griner's portion of the mural.
Tasha Cloud and Elizabeth Williams came yesterday, and it was just really nice of them to come out and participate. The players helped put Brittany's face on the wall, and it was a really cool thing to have.
The mural, which fills the entire wall of a Georgetown alley, was painstakingly created out of flour, wheat, and paper to create the stark black and white images. Family members and other supporters came together to help put the pieces of the mural together.
It is not just about a mural, it's about the act of creating something together collaboratively, which is what this organization has been doing to bring these families together, to share in their grief and suffering, and to use the tools that they have available to work to bring each other's family home.
Griner's family was not on hand to help complete her part of the mural, but Franks did say they were thrilled by the project.
We've been working in close coordination with her team, her agent, the WNBA PA. They've been incredible. And we're just very hopeful that this will play a part in helping Brittany get home.
The mural was unveiled just one day after President Joe Biden signed an executive order aimed at improving information sharing with the families of hostages and increasing sanctions on those who wrongly detain Americans.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. And for top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.